Chapter 1. The Little Girl at Windsor. It begins with a memory. Soft light through the windows, the sound of birds in the garden, and the laugh of a child. Her laugh. She was just Lilibet then, not a queen, not yet, just a little girl with wide eyes and a heart full of wonder. And there was Margaret, her sister, her shadow, her sunshine. They ran through the long grass, hand in hand, chasing butterflies, chasing dreams. "Faster, Lilibet," Margaret would shout. "I'm trying," she laughed back. And oh, how they laughed. No titles, no weight, no crown, just the world of Windsor, big, green, safe. A world where love was easy. She remembers the scent of the roses, the softness of the corgis' fur under her fingers, her father's warm voice, her mother's perfume. It was all still there, in her mind, in her heart, not lost, not yet. But time moves. And that little girl, she didn't know what was coming. She didn't know how quickly childhood ends and how soon a crown would find her. Chapter 2. The Crown Finds Me. It happened, faster than she ever thought. One phone call, one moment, and the world changed. She was far away, in Kenya. The sky was blue, the trees were full of life, but the silence that followed the news was heavy, too heavy for someone so young. Her father, gone. She couldn't cry, not then, not in front of them, not yet. Because now she was queen. Just like that. She didn't ask for it. She never said, "I want to rule." But fate doesn't ask. It chooses. And it chose her. She looked in the mirror that night. Only 25. Her crown still invisible. But she felt it. Oh, she felt it. The weight on her shoulders, the eyes of the world. The quiet voice inside her saying, "Stand tall. Now is your time." She was afraid. Of course she was. But she didn't run. She stood still, took a breath, and stepped forward. Queen Elizabeth. Not because she wanted power, but because she believed in duty, in her people, in something greater than herself. From that moment, her life was no longer hers. It belonged to history. Chapter 3. A Palace of Silence. They see the palace, the golden doors, the guards in red, the shining crown, but they don't see the silence. Not the kind outside, the kind inside, the kind that follows you, even in a room full of people. Yes, the crown is heavy, but not just on the head. No. It's the heart that feels it most. Every step, every word, every decision. Watched, judged, remembered. She walks through long halls, walls full of history, but no voices, only footsteps, only echoes. She sits at the window at night. the world outside sleeping, and she thinks about everything she carries, the hopes of millions, the pain of mistakes, the things she never said, the things she never could say, strong on the outside, always, but inside, she aches. She misses laughter. She misses being just Elizabeth, but she can't go back. Not now. Not ever. Because when you wear the crown, you belong to the people. You belong to duty. You belong to silence. Chapter 4. Charles, my son. Charles. She says his name softly. Not as a queen, not as a ruler, but as a mother. Charles. She closes her eyes, and suddenly she sees him again. Not the man the world knows, not the king he must now be, but the boy. Her boy. He had golden hair once, soft like silk, big eyes, always watching, always thinking, so quiet, so sensitive. A child who felt everything. He was shy, even as a baby. He didn't like loud noise. He didn't like cold rooms. But he loved music. He loved painting. He loved stories. And she loved him, even if, sometimes, she didn't know how to show it. She had to leave him, too often. There were duties, tours, speeches, and the crown always came first. It broke her heart, but she couldn't say that then, not to him, not to anyone. So he learned to smile, to wave, to wear a suit and bow, even when all he wanted was his mother's arms. And as he grew, so did the space between them, not because of anger, but because of expectation. He was the heir, and she was the queen. There were rules, there was distance, there were eyes, always watching. She watched too, from behind glass, from behind silence. She remembers the way he looked at her once, when he was maybe 10. She had just come back from a long trip. He ran to her, stopped, and bowed. It was what he had been taught, what everyone told him to do. But in that small, quiet moment, her heart shattered. She wanted to say, "No, darling, come here, just hug me." But she didn't. She only smiled and patted his shoulder, like a queen, not a mother. She never forgot that moment. Not for one single day. And then came the hard years. Charles, the young man, trying to be strong, trying to be himself. In a world that wanted him to be something else, he struggled. She saw it. She felt it. But she was still the queen, and he was still the prince. Their love was real, but it had to be quiet. And then, Diana. The world watched. The world cheered. A beautiful bride. A fairy tale wedding. But behind the curtains, things were not simple. There was joy. There were sons. There were smiles. But there was also pain. She saw it in Charles's eyes. He was torn. between duty and his heart. And when everything fell apart, she felt it too. The storm hit the family, hit the palace, hit her. And still, she could not cry in public. She could not take sides. But every mother knows her child's pain, and she knew his. She watched the world blame him, judge him, mock him, and she stayed silent, because silence was part of the crown. But inside, she whispered, "Charles, I see you. I know your heart." Years passed. He changed, he grew, he tried again, and now he is king. "Charles," she says again, this time with pride, with sorrow, with deep, deep love. "I see you now," she says inside her heart. "I see the man you've become, the strength in your voice, the kindness in your hands, the weight you now carry." She knows that weight. It is not just a crown. It is history. It is duty. It is loneliness. But she also knows he is ready. Not perfect, not without scars, but ready. She smiles, just a little. Even now, she can still see the boy with golden hair, running through the palace halls, drawing in his sketchbook, looking for quiet places to think. He was never loud, never bold, but he has always been thoughtful. And in the end, that is what a good king must be. "I am proud of you," she whispers, even if he never hears it. "I loved you then. I love you now. And I believe in you." Charles, her son, her future, her legacy. She lets the memory stay a little longer. Then, slowly, she lets it go, because time is moving, and her goodbye is coming. But before she leaves, she holds his name in her heart one last time. Charles, a mother's love, a queen's blessing, forever. Chapter 5. Charles, my son, Charles. She speaks his name in a whisper, not as queen, but as mother. And in that small word, so much lives, love, pride, and pain. She remembers the day he was born. It was cold outside, gray skies. But inside her heart, there was light. A tiny cry, soft skin. Eyes blinking slowly into the world. "Charles," she said, and smiled. A new life. A new hope. She was still so young herself, still learning how to be queen. But in that moment, she wasn't a ruler. She was simply his mother. He was always a quiet child, gentle, shy, full of thought. He liked books more than games, music more than noise, and long walks in the garden, with just one hand to hold. So soft-hearted, so careful with everything, even the way he held his spoon. She remembers watching him from the doorway once, sitting alone, drawing a horse with a blue crayon, so still, so serious. And she thought, he feels more than he says. But life in the palace, it teaches boys to stand straight, to speak clearly, to hide tears. He had to learn early how to wave, how to smile on command, how to wear a suit when all he wanted was to climb trees. She saw him try, and sometimes she saw him break. But he never said much, and neither did she. There were rules. There was distance. There was always someone else in the room. And deep inside, she wondered, did I hold him enough? Did I tell him I loved him when he needed it most? But a queen cannot ask those questions out loud. As he grew, the world watched him more. The cameras followed him everywhere. School, events, speeches. He smiled. He stood tall, but behind his eyes, she saw the storm. He was searching for himself, for his place, for something no title could give. And then came Diana. The world clapped, the world cheered. A fairy tale, they said. But inside the palace, things were not so simple. She remembers the wedding day, the music, the gold, the beauty, but also the look in his eyes. A quiet question, a shadow, a boy, trying to be a man in front of millions. There was love, yes, but also confusion, pressure, pain. And when the marriage began to fall, so did everything. The newspapers, the voices, the judgment, her family, in pieces, and she, still silent, still standing, still holding the crown. She couldn't protect him, not from the world, not from the pain, not even from himself. She wanted to hold his hand again, like when he was small. But the space between them had grown, and duty was a wall too high. She watched him carry his sadness with pride, with shame, with guilt. And when Diana was gone, oh, the silence that followed was deeper than any before. He lost something that day. So did she. So did everyone. But time does what it always does. It moves. It teaches. It softens. And so did he. He married again. He smiled again. He tried again. She saw him, older now, wiser, still not perfect, but more open, more sure. And now he is king. She says it in her mind, slowly. My son, the king. It feels strange. It feels right. It feels full circle. She knows the weight he now carries, the crown, the country, the expectations. She wore it for 70 years. She knows how it changes a person, how it isolates, how it tests the soul. But she also knows this. He is ready. He has waited his whole life. He has watched. He has learned. And now it is his turn. "Charles," she whispers again, this time with calm. "You were never easy to understand, but you were always loved, even in silence, even when I didn't say it. I felt it." She wants to tell him that now. Before she goes, before the light fades, she remembers the soft child, the lonely boy, the proud prince, and now, the steady king. Her son, her firstborn, her legacy. She breathes in one last memory. Him, running in the garden, a crown of leaves on his head, smiling. Not the king, not the prince, just Charles. Her Charles. She smiles, and she lets the memory go. Because she knows he will carry her forward in his voice, in his heart, in every step he takes. "Be strong," she whispers to him, wherever he is, "and be kind." Then she closes her eyes and whispers once more, "Charles, my son." A name wrapped in love, a goodbye wrapped in hope. Chapter 7. One last conversation. The room is quiet now. No footsteps, no voices, no crowns, just stillness. She sits in her chair, back straight, hands folded gently in her lap. Like always, but tonight, something is different. She is not alone, not really. The fire is low. The shadows dance on the walls. Outside, the wind moves through the trees like a whisper. And across from her, there he is. Philip. Maybe not in body, but in spirit. Yes, she feels him. "I've missed you," she says softly. The words leave her lips like a secret, like something she held too long in her chest. He doesn't speak. Of course not. But she sees him in her mind. That quiet smile, those bright, sharp eyes, the way he used to look at her when no one else was watching. "Heavens!" she laughs gently. "You would say I'm being sentimental." A pause. A breath. Then her voice lowers. "But I don't care." She looks at the chair where he used to sit. The same spot every evening. How many years, how many nights like this? Just the two of them? She leans forward slightly, her voice barely more than a whisper. "I didn't always say the things I should have said, did I?" A tear slips down. She doesn't stop it. Not tonight. "You were always there, strong, private, unshakable, even when I felt like falling." She closes her eyes. "I know I didn't make it easy. Being married to the crown, to the job, to me." He once told her, quietly, without anger, that being second to the Queen was complicated. And she knew. She always knew. But neither of them complained. Not out loud, not ever. That was their way. Still, in this moment, she wants to say it all, to give him what was held back. So she begins. I loved you. From the first time I saw you. You made me laugh. You challenged me. You stood beside me, even when it was hard. Especially then. Her fingers touch the edge of her chair, like she's reaching for his hand. I remember the day we said goodbye, she whispers. The funeral, the empty seat beside her, the cold space where he should have been. She held herself still, for the world, for the country, but inside, she broke. You would have hated all the fuss, of course, she says with a tired smile. You always said, keep it simple, Lilibet. Her nickname. Only he called her that. Just hearing it in her mind makes her heart ache. She looks around the room now. Old pictures. Old memories. Their whole life frozen in gold frames and quiet corners. So many years. So many memories. Too many to count. Too many to carry. But one more must be spoken. Just one. I want to tell you something, Philip. Her voice shakes, but she doesn't stop. I wasn't just proud of you. I needed you. A pause. Not just for the country. For me. She sighs, deep, long. I never said it enough, not in the way you deserved. Her eyes lift again to that empty chair, but I'm saying it now, here, with you. She imagines him now, arms crossed, eyes twinkling. And then he says, only in her mind, well, it took you long enough. She laughs, really laughs. The sound fills the room, fills her chest, fills the silence. She sits back, closes her eyes, and for a moment, she forgets the crown, the weight, the world. She is just a wife, a woman, speaking to the man who stood by her through it all. You were my strength, she whispers, my constant. And now, I am tired, my love. Another long silence. Then, one last breath. And soon, I'll see you again. The fire crackles softly. The wind moves through the trees outside, and the room feels just a little warmer, just a little less empty. She sits there a while longer, in the quiet, with him, or the memory of him, or perhaps both, until she rises, slowly, with peace, and walks out of the room, not alone, not tonight. Chapter 8. The Crown on the Table. It is time. She feels it, in her bones, in her breath, in the way the world has gone quiet. The air is still. The sky outside the window is gray, soft, like the space between day and night, and on the table in front of her, it waits. The crown. Gold, shining, heavy, so so beautiful, so silent. She has worn it for so long, almost a lifetime. But now, she looks at it differently, not as her duty, not as her symbol, but as a goodbye. She stands alone in the room. No guards, no music, no cameras, just her and it, slowly, carefully. She walks forward. Each step feels like the end of a story. Her shoes make no sound. Her hands are steady, but her heart is full. So full. She reaches the table and looks down at the crown. Not just gold and jewels. Number this is history. This is weight. This is everything she gave and everything she lost. For years, decades, she carried it on her head, in her hands, in her heart, every day, without fail, through war, through family pain, through love and loss. She never stopped. She never let it fall. But now, she is tired, not just in body, but in spirit. She knows it is time. She takes one more breath, and then, with deep care, she lifts the crown, slowly. Her fingers wrap around the edges. It is cold and still heavy. Even now, even after all these years, she holds it close. One last time, and memories come rushing in. Her father's face, the moment she became queen, her children, small and full of wonder, Philip beside her, steady, proud, the cheers of the people, the silence after tragedy, the letters, the tears, the long lonely nights. It's all inside this crown. And now, she lets it go. Her hands lower slowly, and she places it, gently, on the table. It makes the smallest sound. Click, like a bell, like a door closing, and it sits there, still, shining, waiting for the next hand, the next head. She doesn't cry, not now. She just looks, and in that look is everything. I have done my part, she says softly. No one is there to hear it, but it doesn't matter. She needs to say it, out loud, to the air, to the crown, to herself. I have carried it with love, with honor, with silence, with strength. She pauses. But I am no longer the girl who accepted it, or the woman who wore it through fire and wind. A long breath. I am Elizabeth, and I am ready to rest. She turns from the crown, doesn't touch it again, because that moment is over. It is no longer hers to carry, and that's okay. She walks slowly to the window. The sky is clearing now. Light breaks through the clouds, a soft gold, like morning, like hope. She speaks once more, this time to the future. To whoever wears it next, be brave. be kind, and remember, it is not power you hold, it is people. Then she is quiet, very quiet. But inside her, a strange peace, a calm she hasn't felt in years, maybe never. It is done, truly done, and the crown still sits there, but now it waits for someone new. She looks out at the land she ruled, the country she loved, the people she served, and she smiles, software, tired, free. It is not just the end of a chapter, it is the end of an era, and she has written it with grace. She turns once more toward the table and bows her head, not to the crown, but to what it meant, to duty, to sacrifice, to love. Then she walks away, light on her shoulders, light in her soul, and behind her, the crown stays, waiting, watching, ready. Chapter 9. A Hand to the People. There are no speeches now, no scripts, no cameras, just silence, a deep, beautiful silence. And in that silence, she speaks, not with words, not with titles, but with feeling, with every breath, every step, every soft smile. She says what cannot be written, what must be felt. She stands by the window, looking out across the land, her land, not because it was hers to own, but because it was hers to serve. So many years, so many faces, so many hands she held. Babies, grandmothers, workers, soldiers, the rich, the poor, the quiet, the loud, all of them. And she remembers them, not just the grand ones, but the small moments. The boy who gave her a flower, the nurse who cried when they met, the schoolgirl who curtsied, then giggled, then hugged her. Real people, real lives, her people. And now, she gives them one last gift. Not a speech, not a wave, but a goodbye. A true, gentle goodbye. She closes her eyes and listens. The wind through the trees, the sound of bells in the distance, a dog barking far away. Life goes on. And that is good. That is right. I served you, she says inside her heart, with all I had, all I was. Every day, I tried. She remembers the cheers, the parades, the flags, the music. But she also remembers the quiet thank yous, the notes left on fences, the tears of strangers, and the way people would say, "Ma'am, you've always been there. Always." That word meant more to her than anything else. To be there, to be steady, to be strong, even when it hurt, even when it was lonely. She never said much, but people understood, because it wasn't about noise. It was about presence, about walking through dark days and not turning away, about showing up again and again, no matter the storm, and now she wants to give something back. One final time. She walks out onto the balcony. Slowly, the sky is soft. The air is cool. A hush moves through the crowd below. Because they know, even if she says nothing, they know. She lifts her hand. Not high, not formal, just a small, honest gesture. A wave, a thank you, a hand to the people. And the people lift theirs back, thousands of hands, waving, reaching, honoring. It is quiet and loud, all at once, because in this moment there is no distance, no crown, no titles, only love, only goodbye. She feels it like a wind moving through her, all the years, all the faces, all the hearts. She carries them still, and they carry her. She does not cry, not because she is made of stone, but because she has made peace with her story, with her choices, with the goodbye. She looks out at them. One last time. The young girl in a school uniform, the old man in a suit, tears on his cheeks, the mother holding a baby in her arms. And she sees the future, not hers, but theirs. And that is enough. She steps back, slow, still quiet, and behind her, the door closes, but her heart stays open. In every street, every town, every home, a piece of her remains, not in stone, not in statues, but in the simple human moments, in kindness, in service, in staying strong, even when it's hard. She once said, "I have to be seen to be believed." But now, she doesn't need to be seen, because she is felt. Felt in the silence, in the stillness, in the deep knowing between a leader and the people she loved. She gave them her life. Now, she gives them her goodbye. No words, just presence, just one hand, held out one final time. And the people, they feel it, in their bones, in their breath, in their hearts. A queen saying thank you, not with speeches, but with love. Chapter 10. Light over the Thames. It begins with light, soft, golden, breaking slowly through the darkness, not loud, not sudden, just gentle, like a whisper, like a final breath. She stands at the window, one last time, and there it is. The Thames, the river that has seen it all. Kings, queens, soldiers, children, London's heart, still beating, still moving, still alive. She watches it now. Quiet, still. The water glows under the new morning sun. a golden path stretching far into the distance. And for a moment, she imagines walking on it. The sky is opening, blue mixing with gold, clouds parting, as if the heavens themselves are watching. She closes her eyes, and she remembers the coronation. That first moment, the weight of the crown, the sound of trumpets, and the silence in her chest, the wars, the speeches, the weddings, the tears, the losses, the joys, the people. It all returns, but not with pain, not now. Now it feels like a gift. She places her hand on the glass, cool, smooth. She can almost feel the air outside. London below, awake, alive, and above it, light. Thank you, she whispers, to the city, to the river, to the people she has served all her life. She has no speech prepared, no crown on her head, no papers in her hands, just her heart and a message. Simple, true, final, peace, dignity, love. That is what she wants to leave behind. Not castles, not coins, not statues, but something greater, something that stays. Even when she goes, she thinks of the land, the hills of Scotland, the fields of England, the valleys of Wales, the shores of Northern Ireland, every corner of the kingdom. She loved it all, every flower, every tree, every face. She never thought she'd rule for so long. She never planned to become a symbol. She was just a young girl once, just Lilibet. But time chose her, and she gave everything she could. Now, there is nothing more to give, except this moment, this view, this goodbye. The sun rises higher, filling the sky with gold and light, and suddenly, she feels it. Not fear, not sorrow, but peace. Real peace. This is not an ending. Not truly. It's a turning of the page, a soft closing of the book, a light moving forward. She smiles, and it is the smile of someone who has finished the race, walked the path, carried the crown, and now can rest. She turns from the window. The light stays behind her, warming the glass, warming the room, warming the world she leaves behind. She speaks one last time, but not with sound, with silence, with grace, with presence. Remember me not for the crown, she seems to say, but for the love I tried to give. And in the air, you can almost hear it, not a farewell, but a promise that peace will remain, that dignity will continue, and that love, True love never dies. The light over the Thames grows brighter. The river moves on. The sky opens wide. And somewhere, far beyond this room, a queen, a mother, a woman, takes her final step into rest, into light, into history. But her spirit stays in every child's voice, in every soldier's march, in every hand that reaches out in kindness. She was Elizabeth, not just a queen, but a constant, a calm, a guiding light. And now, that light shines over the Thames and over us all forever.